What is up? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Shred Show Live. I can't tell you, every once in a while, I have somebody on the show that literally gets me nervous. They get me excited. I literally have goosebumps already, and Bill and I haven't even started the show, ladies and gentlemen. But what we are about to talk about, we're talking about sneakers. We're talking about socks. We're talking about social media, building a brand, advocacy in the industry, and so much more. I promise you, this is one of the episodes that is going to change your life. It's going to impact your life because it's not very often that we get an incredible leader, an incredible visionary person like Bill on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, turn the volume up, share this with all your friends, tag everybody, get them in here because you're not going to want to miss this. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Are you ready? It is time to shred. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Shred Show Live. I said it in my intro, but I can't tell you how humbled, how grateful, and how excited I am to have the one, the only Bill Lowman, CEO of American Pacific Mortgage, hanging out with me. He is somebody who truly is an inspirational leader who's leading by example, but not only that, he is advocating for us as a mortgage industry. We're going to have so much fun on this conversation. I promise you, it's going to be an episode. This is going to be one for the ages, ladies and gentlemen. So get ready, strap in, sit down, grab your drink, and come hang out with Bill and I. Bill, good morning and welcome to the Shred Show.
Good morning, Josh, and it's an honor to be here. And I got to tell you, anytime I get up and talk, in front of people at one of our events or a podcast like this, will you do my introduction? Like,
Done.
I'm pumped up, and I'm like, wow, you're really setting the bar pretty high here. So I'm really looking forward to it. And before we get started, Josh, I just want to take a minute and thank you for what you do in the mortgage industry and how you talk about and really drive the importance of branding and how you position yourself, and you do it for loan officers, not just in our company, across the country. And I think it's great work, and I want to let you know I appreciate what you do for all of us.
Man, that is truly humbling coming from you, my friend. So thank you so very much for the kind words. But let's have some fun. I am so excited. You and I connected on LinkedIn. Again, you and I have been friends. We see each other at different events. But I saw a post from you recently that kind of started this idea of like, hey, we got to have you on the show. We got to have you talk about some of these things. And you were talking about sneakers, which I'm excited to get into. But before we go there, I want to share, for those who may not know the Bill Lowman story, I want you to share a little bit. How did you get started in this industry? I think it's so interesting to hear how executives like yourself, how leaders like yourself got started, because most of us didn't say, as little boys and girls, say, hey, I want to be a mortgage professional. I want to be in the mortgage industry. So how did you get your start in the industry?
Yeah, Josh, if you know anybody that started out saying I wanted to get in the mortgage industry, I'd like to meet them, because I've never met anybody. I feel like that we've all almost accidentally gotten into the business. And then once you get in, you don't get out, because it is such a great and rewarding business. But I started after I graduated from college. I was back in Buffalo, New York, and I went to work as a collector at a bank. And so I was collecting personal loans, car loans, mobile home loans. And then started doing loans myself, and just kind of migrated up that path to becoming a branch manager at a local branch of a company that I spent about 10 or 12 years with. The Money Store, and probably they were a home equity lender way back in the day. Probably many of our folks here don't even remember the Money Store, but that's where I started my journey from Buffalo, New York, moving to Louisville, moving to Southern California, then landing in Northern California in 1995, where I've been ever since. And through my journey, and as I was working, I met our company founder and chairman, Kurt Rising. And we met actually on a Little League baseball field. His oldest son and my middle son were very good friends, starting in third grade, and I coached his kids and all that. And in 2002, I had a little period of time where I wasn't working, and Kurt said, "Why don't you come over and start out running our branch at Big Valley Mortgage," which I did from 2002 to 2004. I think at the time, our company was probably 40 or 50 branches and maybe, I don't know, 300 employees. It's a long time ago. It's 20 years ago now. Became president of APM in 2004, became CEO in 2016, and here we are today, over 300 branches, 3,600 employees, licensed in 49 states, probably a top 10, top 12 retail lender in the country. So it's been quite a journey. It's been, the most incredible ride of my life. And it's just, the company's been a special thing to be a part of.
Well, it just speaks so much. It speaks just leaps and bounds about an organization, about a culture. When somebody like yourself, the incredible leader that you are, the incredible person that you are, when you've been with an organization like American Pacific Mortgage for that long, it just shows, like, because often we see executives kind of bounce around, they go and they do their thing and they'll go find somebody else or new projects, if you will. But you have been so dedicated, and this has been such, again, the culture that you have built. And I can say this, I travel a lot. I speak with a lot of great companies, and there's a lot of great mortgage. There's a lot of great lenders out there, a lot of great companies, a lot of great organizations. But when I went to the American Pacific Mortgage event last fall, and and that's when you and I were hanging out, and like being able to be among the family that American Pacific Mortgage has created, I'll tell you what, Bill, it's like nothing I've ever experienced. The people, the conversations, the collaboration, it was mind blowing. Like, it was like, these people just aren't mortgage professionals. They're not just, this isn't just a job or a career for them. This is a lifestyle. This is they're supporting each other in ways. Plus you're out there on the dance floor, breaking it up, out like jamming with them. It was really, truly inspirational to me.
Well, you know what? Thanks, Josh, because, culture in American Pacific Mortgage is so important to me. It's so important to the leadership of our company. And I think we really put an exclamation point on culture when we converted 35% of the ownership of our company to an ESOP, employee stock ownership plan. So now, there's so much going on in the industry, right? And it's like there's a lot of consolidation going on, and our, private equity firms going to come in and buy you up, and is that going to change the culture? And what we did, and the commitment we made, was to our employees and to, share, sell, gift 35% of the company to them. So now, before there was a handful of us that were owners. Now I've got about 3,500 fellow owners. And I think, when your interests are aligned like that, it is such a powerful thing. And I think, we're poised for even more greatness, if that's even possible.
Oh, I was going to say, it is possible for an organization and with leadership like yours. And again, giving it back, bringing in those 3,500, the employees, giving them part of it is so incredibly brilliant, so inspiring to me. And as we continue to go, what's up, Nick Carpenter? Thanks for being here this morning. And Pratik as well from LinkedIn, everybody joining in. Guys, if you have a question too that you want to throw at us, let us know. We appreciate everybody showing up this morning. But Bill, I want to change gears a little bit because, again, I saw a post recently. You were traveling the country. You were out and about among the American Pacific or the branches.
Mm-hmm.
You were speaking, you were engaging with them, which again, to me, just again shows so much about your character, who you truly are, because you could send your different executives out and say, oh, I don't have time for this. I'm running this huge company. I got to focus here, but you're out amongst your peers. You're out amongst the family. And you made this post about sneakers, about your shoes that you were wearing. So I want to talk about this a little bit. So clearly you're a shoe. I mean, is this, everybody kind of has their passion, their side hustle outside of work. So sneakers, why sneakers? What's this about sneakers?
This goes back a long time, and I've always loved sneakers, and it really became a thing with me and my three boys, who are all adults now, but they were young then, and we used to go shopping, and we'd load up on sneakers, and it's something that I've always liked. But the interesting thing is, up until the pandemic, I was wearing shoes. I don't know. I guess that's what you're supposed to do. And then when it just, everything kind of lightened up, it's like, I'm going to be me. I'm going to be authentic. This is who I am. I'm not going to apologize for it. So, I was just showing up in sneakers, and then it's like, okay, we're going out in front of, hundreds of our branch managers and loan officers. I'm like, I ain't changing. It's, so it was fun. And, each of the, at the summits, there was meaning behind the sneakers that I wore. And I often try to do that to maybe set the tone for a meeting or a presentation or, whatever day it is. They all have special meaning.
That's amazing. So I've got to know, you got to have a pair on today. What are you wearing today? What sneakers do you have on? What's representing your mood today? What do you got?
Got it. Well, I'll see if I can do this without falling out of my
I don't.
chair and do that. These
Oh,
are the Kobe Sunshines. My socks say "cool ass grandpa." I'm a proud grandfather to the 4 girls. But these are the Kobe Sunshines. And I'll tell you a couple things. Like you, look, you're yellow today. I'm yellow today. Some days you just need to be bright, right? And so we're doing that. But more importantly, what these shoes represent to me, and I'll bring them out maybe at our symposium as well,
yeah.
is the Mamba mentality.
Ooh.
And so, Kobe Bryant was known for the Mamba mentality. And that's just, trust the process, work your ass off, outwork everybody, and really win it at almost all costs. And you got to fight to win. And that's what Kobe was. And that's what these sneakers represent. And let me tell you, it's been a heck of a year, right? And look at what we're going through. Volume is down 40%. There's market share wars going on as we speak, and we're fighting them. And I think in order to win in a market like this, you need the Mamba mentality. So that's what these sneakers represent to me.
I think that Mamba mentality, this is why, again, I have so much admiration, so much respect for you, Bill, is because, again, it's that style of thinking, especially in the times that we're in right now. You and I have been doing this for a long time. We've seen the ups and downs, the 08s, the 07s, 08s, 09s, and now we're experiencing something I like to say similar. I don't know if it's the same. It's there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of uncertainty in the industry, and having that mentality, saying, "Hey, let's find there's always opportunity." And as a matter of fact, in downturns, I see there's even more opportunity, but you have to be willing to go after it. You have to be willing to push yourself.
And don't be managed or ruled by fear. Be obsessed with winning, and that's what Kobe Bryant was.
And you have to have that mentality right now.
Yep.
Like if you don't have that mentality, you just, again, you'll be pushed to the sidelines. You have to be willing to play on the court. You have to earn your spot on the team. You have to earn your spot on the court. And so this is why it's so intriguing to me, because it's important for leaders like yourself to have that voice. For you, why is it important for you? Because again, like I said, you've got great people on your team. You've got people like Kurt. You've got people like Melissa, Dustin. You've got you have just an amazing team. Why is it important for you? I mean, Bill, the CEO, why is it important for you to have a voice? Why do you think that's so important?
So, and I think it's a great question, Josh. And there's, a voice. There's a lot of different audiences for my voice.
Sure.
And, starting, with the company, I think one of the things, we talked about our culture being attractive. And I think, it comes from leadership. We're a flat organization. We show up. If you've been to our events, we're showing up. We're not, muckety mucks behind a microphone and then going back and not being out there, collaborating with your people. So we show up, and and I just feel like, and I've always felt like you got to show up authentically, and that's
100%.
my voice, and that's what I want, everybody in the organization to know. Anybody that's considering coming to American Pacific Mortgage, I'll give you my cell phone number right now. You can walk into my office any point, anytime, because that's important. And then the other thing, Josh, is, and we can touch on it whenever you want, is having a voice for the industry. This is an industry that has served all of us very well, and I've chosen to use my position to try to advocate for the industry. So I use my voice in that way as well.
Let's talk about that, because I think advocacy in particular, I want to come back to a point you made in just a second, but you mentioned advocacy here. This is something that I know you've served as a chairman on the California Association of Mortgage Professionals. You're very active within the MBA. I mean, you're one of those people who truly, again, with everything you've got going on, you're busy. Again, you're running one of the top 10 retail lenders in the country, yet you still have time to advocate for our industry. And there are so many executives, especially CEOs, who are like, hey, I've got my team for that. They're going to go advocate for the loan officers. They're going to go advocate for, our team. But you are very focused on advocacy. Why is that so important for you?
And it's been a journey, Josh. I will tell you, for a long time, I used to bitch. And if you remember coming out of the financial crisis, and all the regulations that kept coming at us, one after another after another. And I sat there and I bitched and moaned about it. And I made a decision to not bitch but shape. That I
Mm,
feel like if I could, use my voice, use my position at American Pacific Mortgage as a platform to get a seat at the table and try to make a difference. And that just it's kind of like a first of all, I feel like I have. Second of all, it's just a better mind state when you walk in. It's like, okay, I'm not gonna, let this control me. I'm gonna do what I can. And so I just spent a lot of time networking and putting myself in a position through, the California Mortgage Bankers Association or the MBA, where I serve on a couple of boards. I want a seat at the table. And when
mm,
key issues are being discussed, whether it's some of the changes that have gone on over the last couple of years that FHFA was pushing down through Fannie and Freddie, whether it's tackling, affordability, whether it's tackling closing, the racial minority homeownership gap. It's important. And rather than, shake my head or scratch my head, get a seat at the table and make a difference.
Holy cow, Bill. That is what you just said there. Again, from a leadership standpoint is so unique. Some leaders like to preach. They love to say, "Oh, we got to do this, we got to do this," but they're not stepping up and doing it. You're a man of action. That's why again, why I have so much respect is like you have so many things going on. You could be so busy. You could make excuse after excuse. Well, I can't go to Capitol. I can't go advocate here because I'm helping our team. I'm helping do this. I'm doing this, but you're like, "Nah, like I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I love this industry. I loved serving the people of this industry. So yes, I want to be part of the conversations. I want to be part of the future. Our industry is evolving. The industry is absolutely changing as it always does. And it's leaders like yourself who are saying, hey, but when it comes to this change, when it comes to this evolution, we still need to make sure that these guidelines, that the laws, the regulations that are being put into place make sense. And again,
That's
we
right.
have to be the ones to be willing to step up and say, hey, with these changes, we want to have a say in them, because if we don't, then who knows what's going to happen with our industry.
Yeah, that's right. Protect the consumer, make companies in a position where they can, have outreach to their consumers. Don't, hold them back. And it's just, I'm fortunate to have such a great team, leading American Pacific Mortgage. It's a team that leads American Pacific Mortgage, and the team allows me to do that. And we feel it benefits the company and the industry. And that's the stuff that, if I've ever remembered for anything after I'm, out of the industry and sitting in my rocking chair, it's this.
I have a feeling you're going to be remembered for so much more. And so the legacy that you're building, Bill, is just absolutely brilliant. And I
Thank you.
want to go back to something that you said a second ago, because as I travel the country, as I attend different events, one thing that I hear a lot is you mentioned team, you mentioned culture. I hear
Yeah,
this a lot from team members. And when I was at the symposium, as I've been at a few other events, I hear a lot of people, especially who are looking to maybe join APM or who are looking to make a change. They love that you practice what you preach. They love that you're a visible leader. Like I
yeah,
mentioned, you literally, like, you were out on the dance floor of the symposium. You're posting videos about your sneakers at these different events.
yeah.
You're one of those people. You're visible internally, externally, and you're very transparent. How important do you think that is for leaders in this type of market right now, to be transparent, to be authentically themselves?
So I think, and this goes back to it was really reinforced to me, and maybe not that it even needed reinforcement, but when you go back to the very beginning of the pandemic
Mm,
and all the changes that were going on and all the uncertainty that was going on. I mean, we saw rates, that were going to be, historically low, but that created, operational challenges. We had to get all of our workforce home. We were seeing changes in guidelines and programs on a daily basis, on and on and on. And during that period of time, our chairman, Kurt, and I did a video virtually every day, being transparent. And, I had one longtime branch manager say to me, he said, whenever I'd see your video come out in that day, it made my stomach kind of turn because I knew there was going to be some shitty news. Sorry, can we swear on this
we
show?
can absolutely
Okay.
let it
Okay.
fly.
Okay, so it's going to be some shitty news, but I appreciate you being transparent and giving me, the information that I need to
Mm,
know to run my branch, to support my family or whatever it is. And that just really reinforced it to me. And that's something that, the transparency, I think, is so important. And just you're talking about our events and, leadership being visible. And we did our first event in Atlanta a month ago. And it was our first event in Atlanta because we really didn't have any presence in the Southeast and the Eastern United States. And we do now. And just the feedback that I got from people that I was meeting for the first time and how much they appreciated, being visible, the videos, all the things that we do, to be transparent. And it was just probably the number one thing that we heard from all the, about it made about 150 new friends. And so just another reinforcement for all that.
The fact, I want everybody to go back and listen to what Bill just said there last minute. One thing you said was so critical that you don't hear. You literally said you made 150 new friends. You didn't say that these were new team, like they aren't new employees. They're not, members of the team. You said friends, Bill.
Yeah.
Like that is what truly makes such a difference, is you are building a company full of friends. And I've saw it. I have seen it firsthand many times as I've been with you and as I've been at your guys' events. They're friends. People come up to you and it's, a lot of times leaders, especially executive CEOs like yourself, you almost have that like untouchable mentality. Like, oh my gosh, like I can't approach Bill. But it was so cool at your guys' events. People were coming up to you. They were shaking your hand. They were having these conversations. And you like it. Sometimes you have that executive that'll shake hand and kind of just, make small talk, but you were so involved. Like you were literally like the conversations that you were having were meaningful. You could tell that you were like focused on the conversation. You shared with me like this weekend you're going to go spend time with one of your team members who lost a loved one. Like that is, to me, that is the definition of a true leader. When they truly make friendships, they build we talk about this industry being full of relationships, but you of all people has truly made that a center focus, and thus why APM continues to dominate and grow.
Yeah, you know what? And they are friends. I mean, you could look on Facebook. I think half the people I met in Atlanta are now my Facebook friends. And but you know what? I mean, these folks, without the work they do, the effort, the sweat, the blood that they commit to doing loans, I don't have a paycheck. I haven't done a loan in a long time. And you got to respect the heck out of those folks that are out there doing it every day, especially in today's market. It's not easy out there. That's why, going back to the Mamba mentality, be obsessed with winning.
Oh, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the market real quick. I don't want to get doom and gloomy, but more than anything is actually APM is growing like crazy. These first half of the year, you guys have added something like I remember 41 or 43 branches.
Yeah.
And again, in a year that people are kind of like, whoa, what's next? That just, again, it speaks so much to an organization who is adding. They're growing. And one thing that I hear a lot, I actually spoke with a local branch recently that just came on with APM. You guys didn't know this, and I didn't say I was going to talk about it, but I talked about it, and they were so excited because they felt like it was a true partnership. It wasn't just like, sometimes in our industry it was like, oh, well, I just got I'm in with a new lender. It's not a big deal. But they're like, I feel like American Pacific is my partner. They're here to help me grow. They want to see me thrive. They want to see me succeed in the times to come, especially in difficult times as rates are on the rise.
Yeah.
That is the mentality that you guys have. You guys are growing. How?
Yeah. So, first of all, I have an old saying that my team has heard a lot, and that is when it's too tough for them, it's just right for us. And so I love these markets, and if you look back at the history of American Pacific Mortgage, we've gained market share every time we've had a market like this. So this is really an opportunity for companies like us, and there are other companies as well too. But this has now become a market share game. We're all going to do less volume than what we did in 2021. But are you going to pick up market share? And it's tough. There's going to be a lot of consolidation going on. You're seeing companies challenged with profitability, and that creates opportunities for companies like American Pacific Mortgage. This is where we're out talking about, the tools, the resources we provide. Come join us and be a fellow owner. These are the things that really provide an opportunity for us. So we've added close to 50 branches this year. We're talking to folks. We're looking to, partner up with other mortgage companies and merge together and make the two companies, a better by collaborating and working together. So these are, this is just right for us right now.
Oh my gosh, man. That was so great. Like that was amazing. When you even talking about the partnerships with other lenders right now, we don't want to lose any of our valuable friends and people that we've seen for years. We don't want to see people go out of business. We don't want to see their families affected by this. Partnerships that you mentioned, the fact that you mentioned as branches come on, making them, own, they're part of it. Again, this is something that is so unique, that is so different within our world. And that's why American Pacific is just dominating in the way that you guys are, is because it's not just another job. It's again, this is an opportunity to grow, to succeed together. You mentioned the tools, the resources you have, from leadership to truly the physical tools that you guys provide at American Pacific Mortgage. It's just so different, Bill.
Yeah. And you know what? Josh, I know you are passionate about branding and having your personal brand. And really, that goes back to the initial days of our company. And, it wasn't social media back then, but, us allowing branches to come in with their own brand, with their own DBA. You look at American Pacific Mortgage, there's hundreds of DBAs out there where you may not even realize that branch is American Pacific Mortgage. Why is that? Because we want our branches that come on to have the freedom and flexibility to brand how they want to express themselves in their community. And that's not any different than how you talk about, branding with loan officers.
No.
And this is just something that carries forward. So, if there's another, small mortgage company out there, and we're talking to them all the time, and they want to become part of and a division of American Pacific Mortgage, well, guess what? They're a DBA. Their name doesn't change. So that when the loan officer wakes up after that company becomes part of American Pacific Mortgage, still the same name on the wall, still the same name on the business card, still the same name in the community that they serve. And that is just, the kind of the seminal moments of our company when we made personal, or maybe not personal, but unique branding a part of who we are.
Oh my gosh, Bill, this just opened a Pandora. We could literally spend another 30 minutes just on this, because there's so many companies that are like, if you're coming over, no, we want you to be a part of our company. Like now you're part of, us now. Like forget about the name. It's not, so many companies are like, oh, it's not about the name. It's not about this. But the fact that you guys are willing, like, hey, do a DBA, keep the branding. Like we want you to be you. Going back to what you said, you are Bill Lowman, showing who you are, being authentically you. That's what you want these branches as they're coming over. We all build relationships with our communities, with our audiences through us. They love Bill Lowman. They love Josh Pitts. Keeping those names is so, again, it's one of those pieces that is, for me, it just speaks leaps and bounds to the organization. You're not worried about the American Pacific brand in and of itself. You just know, you have the mentality that as you help these branches grow, as you help these other companies grow, it's ultimately going to help you grow. That's the mentality that is so critical. That's where some leaders and some even lenders in this time, and as the market is a little uncertain, they're thinking so small-minded. They're like, no, you're part of us now. You have to be part of us. And you guys have the opposite. You're like, go get them, build your brand, get after it.
Yep, that's exactly right. That's how we've always been, and we don't have an egoic need to have American Pacific Mortgage logo on signs throughout the country. We are completely focused on how we support our branch managers and how we deliver resources to our loan officers. And that you can brand yourself any way you want. I'm going to give you that support.
Oh my gosh. That, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to that right now, you know that I literally, as Bill mentioned, I talk about this all the time, creating your brand, building on social media, putting yourself there, creating content. And what Bill just said, this is why I have so much love for American Pacific Mortgage. This is why I love Bill as a leader, is because he's supporting that right now more than ever. As you need to be showing up on these devices, you need to be showing up in front of people. You need to be getting that market share that Bill talked about. Bill, this has been literally one of those, like I said, I don't use Epic very often, but this is one of those conversations that literally, like, I just get so pumped up, because it is leaders like yourself who are showing, and they're actually doing. They're not just talking about it, from advocacy, from showing up, from being present, to working with their friends and their team members. It just is absolutely a breath of fresh air. It's so amazing. It's inspirational. So I cannot thank you enough for the person that you are, the leader that you are, and the organization and the team that you are creating. So thank you so very much. This has been absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, thank you, Josh, and thank you for the opportunity to share on your show a little bit about our great company.
I was going to say, we're just scratching the tip of the iceberg here. There's so much more that I look forward to as we have more conversations with yourself, with American Pacific Mortgage, and the incredible team. Like you said, it's not just, that's why I love it as well. You said this earlier. It's not just yourself. You have great people. You're surrounding, you're building a team. You're building a culture that is absolutely unparalleled in this industry.
Okay.
So guys, go check out, go follow Bill. You have to go follow Bill on all social channels. Go follow American Pacific Mortgage, the value that they share, the things that they do. I promise you, in this time, we all need to support. We all need to collaborate and help one another. And I couldn't think of anybody better than Bill and American Pacific Mortgage. So Bill, you're the man. I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate everybody showing up and the comments that came in today. And as always, we appreciate you. We love you. Now it's time for all of you to go shred, go show up, hustle, repeat every day. See ya.